For most of us, the Roth IRA is definitely the best retirement vehicle if you want to become a tax-free millionaire. Now, in previous videos, we've talked about what the Roth IRA is in depth, talked about the best places to open a Roth IRA, and despite the fact that this should be fairly simple for most of us, there are still some incredibly common mistakes that you might be making that could literally cost you millions of dollars. So today, let's expose those mistakes, talk about how you can fix them, and help you maximize your retirement contributions to make sure that you are on the track to becoming a tax-free millionaire. All right, let's jump right into it. What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So, like I said, if you did miss my video last week on the best Roth IRA accounts, then definitely check that out down in the description below. Or if you'd like some more information on what a Roth IRA specifically is, then I have made a video on that a long time ago, but there are plenty of other resources online and other videos that will tell you specifically what a Roth IRA is and what the advantages are. But in a nutshell, your Roth IRA is a post-tax account, meaning you pay the taxes now, and after paying those taxes, or post-tax, you then contribute to your Roth IRA, and that means that your money is going to grow exponentially tax-free, so all of the gains that your money has over the next several decades is not going to be taxed. And thanks to the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest, that means that you can seriously become a tax-free millionaire. So that all sounds well and good and fairly simple, but the first mistake that you might be making that's probably the most obvious is not contributing to your Roth IRA. Now, this might be because you didn't know about the Roth IRA, maybe you just didn't think it was important, or maybe you have a different kind of retirement vehicle and thought that you couldn't also have a Roth IRA. And I'm here to tell you right now that all of those excuses are nonsense. Yes, you should be contributing to a Roth IRA. Yes, you can have a Roth IRA and other retirement vehicles. And in fact, you can even have multiple Roth IRA accounts as long as your total contributions do not exceed the annual threshold of $6,000. As always, it's really important that you talk to a financial professional or a CPA to make sure that you are using the best retirement vehicle possible, because the Roth IRA does have income limits. However, even if you are above that income limit, you have tools like the backdoor Roth IRA and other tools that you can leverage to make sure that you are maximizing your retirement gains. So, mistake number one is not contributing. So the obvious solution is to start contributing to your Roth IRA immediately. And the biggest factor with investing is time. So if you're really young and you're watching this right now and you're saying to yourself, I've got plenty of time to start investing, then please pause the video right now and go open a Roth IRA. You'll thank me later. Moving on from there, we have the second huge mistake that I hear people making all the time, and that is either contributing too much or not contributing enough to their Roth IRA. Now, like I just said, the maximum contribution limit is $6,000 per year or $7,000 per year if you are 50 or older. $6,000 per year might sound like a lot to some of you, it might sound like nothing to others, but if you look at that compared to the average annual income here in the US, $6,000 is not that high of a percentage of investing. Now, I realize that this is an extreme example, but if you maxed out your Roth contributions between the ages of 18 and 65 and earned an average annual return of 7%, which is fairly conservative, then by the time you retire, you would have over $4.5 million in this account. And remember that that money can then be withdrawn tax-free because this is a Roth account. And that means that you already paid the taxes on it today, so when you withdraw that money, you don't have to pay any additional taxes on your profits. Now, on the flip side of the coin, if you contribute too much, you can actually have to pay penalties and other fees. So again, talk to a tax professional or financial advisor, but at the very least, you want to be maxing out not only your personal Roth IRA, but if it applies to you, also max out your spouse's Roth IRA. Meaning if you both maxed out your Roth IRA between 18 and 65 and got that 7% annual return, you as a couple would be just shy of $10 million in your combined Roth IRAs. And that is just nuts. And all that money is completely tax-free. Okay, so the third mistake that makes me scratch my head and will probably do the same for you, but is a lot more common than you'd like to think, is that investors are not actually investing their contributions. If you are making this mistake, please don't worry about it because you are not alone. But remember that a Roth IRA is simply an investment vehicle like a regular brokerage account. But within that account, you still have to actually invest that money. It's incredible how often I hear people contributing their $6,000 to the Roth IRA each year and then getting confused when they don't see that money growing. And it's because you actually have to invest that money within the Roth IRA. So this one is pretty self-explanatory, and the topic of today's video is not about where to invest within your Roth IRA, but if you have opened your Roth IRA, you've made your contributions, then you need to make sure that you are actually investing that money so that it can go to work for you. That brings us to the fourth mistake that is actually pretty common as well, and that is cashing out your earnings too early. In order to withdraw your gains or profits from your Roth IRA, the owner has to be at least 59 and a half. I have no idea why that is the age requirement, don't ask me, but that's just the rule. So if you are not 59 and a half, then you cannot withdraw your profits without paying a pretty hefty penalty. Now, to clarify, you can always withdraw your contributions without any penalty, meaning if I put $6,000 into my Roth IRA and that grows to $10,000, well, I can always take out my original $6,000, but I cannot withdraw my $4,000 in profits without paying income taxes and a 10% penalty on top of that, which is really going to negate the benefit of using a Roth IRA in the first place. Remember that the whole point of the Roth IRA is to have the ability to withdraw that money tax-free. So if you are not 59 and a half, then please do yourself a favor and don't touch that money, because not only will you have to pay fees, but you'll also have to pay taxes, which really ruins the Roth IRA. But once you're 59 and a half, you'll probably be a tax-free millionaire, and that's pretty cool if you ask me. All right, and the fifth and final mistake that goes under the radar far too often is not considering other retirement vehicles. First of all, like I said earlier in the video, you can and probably should have a Roth IRA as well as another retirement vehicle like a 401k, a 403b, or a pension plan depending on your line of work. But what I also mean by this mistake is that in some cases, the Roth IRA is not the right retirement vehicle, and you might instead want to use a traditional IRA or a backdoor IRA. The backdoor IRA is specifically meant for individuals earning above the income threshold, but traditional IRAs work in the same way as a Roth IRA, but instead of paying the taxes today, you get to contribute that money pre-tax, but then you do have to pay those taxes down the road when you withdraw that money. So if you think that you will be making less money in the future than you are right now, then a traditional IRA might be something worth checking out, but again, you definitely want to talk to a tax professional or a CPA or some financial advisor to make sure that you are using the best retirement vehicle possible. I know that this can all get a little bit confusing, and there are so many other retirement vehicles that you can be using, including things like a Roth 401k, which works in the same way as a Roth IRA, but has a much higher contribution limit. So again, definitely talk to a financial professional to get the best advice possible, because if you don't choose the right retirement vehicle, then that could easily cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long term, and that is the last thing that I want for you. So there you have it. Those are the 5 most common Roth IRA mistakes that I see that could easily cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, but by avoiding these, you can legitimately put yourself on the track to becoming a tax-free millionaire. And I am not just saying that for clickbait. If you do the math, it is absolutely possible as long as you stay consistent and start as soon as possible. Again, if you are curious about the best places to open your Roth IRA, I'll be sure to link to that video that I did last week down in the description below, and I would love to know down in the comment section what your Roth IRA strategy is and what accounts you are currently using for your IRA or other retirement vehicle. As always, if you did get value out of this content and you want to help support me, the easiest way to do that is actually checking out some of my favorite financial tools down in the description, many of which will give you some free money when you sign up, which we always love. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future, and of course, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.